Welcome to Emotions and Eating with Nicola-beer. Nicola controlled her feelings using food for 25 years, so she knows how draining it is to be constantly thinking about or acting out with food. Thankfully, having made an amazing breakthrough in her recovery, her mission became about helping others escape the unsatisfying cycle of frustration and self-medication with food. Nicola is determined to help you find your inner strength so you can be healthy, gain confidence, feel great, and be at peace with yourself and food.
Hi and welcome, this is Nicola-beer. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be sharing with you about how to deal with hurtful comments from others. Because whether it's intentional or unintentional, what other people say about the way we eat, what size we are, what weight we are, it can really affect us. As you probably heard in my other episode, if you're listening to them in order, I talked about when I was told that I was skinny fat and what impact that had on me. And today I'm going to be sharing another story with you and what you can do to protect yourself from being hurt from other people's comments. Sound good? Well, let me tell you about how I was feeling. Imagine feeling and thinking that you're doing really great at something. You're feeling motivated, encouraged, and feel like what you're doing is really working. So you keep on going. That's how I felt when I started exercising as a way to lose weight and tone up and not be bulimic. I threw away the scale, which was a huge move for me, and I was loving the feeling of being free. Because I used to weigh myself every day, and sometimes a couple of times a day when I went to the bathroom. So I was really feeling like I was getting somewhere with my eating habits because I was eating differently for the exercise routine. I was sleeping more to get up early. I felt so good that I decided to go to the water park with my friend for my birthday. I felt, let's defy getting older and splash about in a water park for the day and have fun. When I asked my friends to join me, I realised that I was not the only one with the food and weight issues because many of them refused to get in a swimsuit. Which I felt was kind of sad, but I totally got where they were coming from because I'd had those thoughts as well before. Then when I was there, I went to get on the ride where you go around the water park on big yellow inflatable rings. It's a safe ride, you literally just drift around the whole river. And the lady at the theme park told me, "You cannot go on that ride." "Excuse me?" I said. "You cannot go on that ride," she said. I asked why in total shock. Still not getting it. "We don't allow pregnant ladies on this ride," she said. "I'm not pregnant," I screamed back, feeling hurt and confused. Bloody great, I thought. All that exercise, healthy eating, stomach crunches, and here I am, and I told I looked pregnant. Pregnant enough for someone to jump off their lifeguard chair and come down to try to stop me in front of everyone, get on the ride. Marvellous. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how much I felt? On my birthday of all days. Maybe you've experienced something similar. And while she was at no way at fault, she was just doing her job, I felt like my entire world had come crashing down once again. I thought to myself, how all this hard work and exercise could not be getting me anywhere. I was not binging, I was eating healthily, and yet this woman thought my stomach was bulging enough to be pregnant. I was hurt. And the hurt brought back that voice. That one controlled me, how much I ate, and judged me on every bite, and made my food intake an obsession. And that's when insanity kicked in again. The little voice inside me said, tomorrow I will diet. Tomorrow I will get rid of all the fat around my belly. And then later I will build up muscle. I was to forget my old exercise plan and my old way of eating. I was now to go to the extreme. Starting tomorrow, I'm not going to eat any carbs, I'm not going to eat any fat, and I'm going to aim for a maximum of 1,000 calories a day or less. So I went home and naturally ordered in a large takeaway to console myself as a last meal before starving myself. I ate until I was bursting at the seams and feeling sick. It's okay, I said to myself, I'll be ready to start tomorrow now. The next day came and I felt so annoyed at last night's binge that I couldn't manage to start. I was tired and I remembered that I have an evening dinner planned, so I put it off another day and then another day. And then it was the weekend, so I ate my way through the weekend. I was so far from peace, it was unreal. Then several days later, I was ready. This rule, this time, was running every day and tracking my calories and food in a food calorie counter on my phone. I started aiming for less than 1,200 calories, then it became 1,000, then 900, then 800, then 600, then 500. I was surviving on nothing. I was literally eating boiled eggs and salad. I isolated myself and shut out the world to get rid of the fat. I just kept going. My feelings were a mixture of pleasure and pain. Pain at the restricting and loneliness, pleasure at the control and that I was achieving my so-called goals. I became so weak I caught the flu, and feeling sorry for myself, I started writing down my thoughts in a diary that I had created to track my weight loss. My heart and tears poured onto the page. Had all of this suffering and beating myself up come from someone calling me pregnant? How had I let someone get to me so much? A complete stranger. Have you ever felt like this? Maybe someone passed a comment in which they thought was a joke, or they just had that kind of habit to talk in a certain way, and the comment stuck with you until you felt like it was going to break you in two. Well, I'm not the only one to experience this. Bob's work colleagues used to constantly tease him about his weight, and when he joined the program, he started asking for help to turn that around. Lara found that she was constantly feeling down about her body because of her mother's cutting comments. Her mother who said that she was overweight and had a large stomach. We all share these kind of things in the Pure Peace program and are able to laugh about them now. We kind of open up and we say, what's been happening for you each week? And someone will say, oh, at the cinema they were shocked that I didn't want any popcorn. Or my friend said to me, why aren't you going to finish that? What's wrong with you? Everyone just shares these things and we're able to just process them and share them and not let them affect us. It's crazy just how insensitive people can be without realising. Richard was someone that I worked with to change his eating patterns. He wanted to be able to put on more muscle and to look different. He had been bullied all his life at school. His schoolmates used to call him Sticky. And this carried on in his adult life because he still used to play football with all of his friends. When his girlfriend adopted it, he felt frustrated because he wished he had muscles, but was so strict on eating that he couldn't break it. So putting on weight was a big deal for him. If you've had people say hurtful things to you, then I'm going to share the best way I found to deal with people's comment and what helps those who join the Pure Peace Formula program to get through these times. Number 1 is not to take it personally. This may seem a strange thing to say. Don't take it personally, especially when it's actually about you. You may be thinking, how can I not take it personally, Nicola? They were talking about me, to me. How else should I take it? However, even though the torments are directed at you, it says more about the inner world of that other person than it does about you. Laura's mother was hoping to inspire her daughter to lose weight because she feared that if Laura didn't, Laura's husband may leave her. This came from her own insecurities about her own relationship. She also wanted to show off her daughter's beauty to her church friends and wanted her to look a certain way. It was her mother's beliefs and desires about weight, fitting in and looking good that drove her to say such things. Number 2 is to know that you are more than your body. Know that you are more than your body. Yes, the body is amazing the way it functions, and yes, you have the responsibility for your body shape and what you put into it, but you are more than your body. You have a spirit, a soul, a personality, a heart, and an energy that touches others. The third thing to not be hurt by other people's comments is to remember that it's your business and nobody else's. I firmly believe that your weight, your size, and the food you eat is your business and nobody else's. I had a lady who worked with me to transform her relationship to food and her body, and her husband kept wanting to weigh her to see if the program with me is working. Despite her trying to tell him several times that this is not about losing weight, it's about transforming how she feels so it becomes effortless. It's about having peace with food and peace in your mind. He wouldn't give up. He wanted to see a slimmer her, but his comments were not helping her, as whenever he called her horrible names, like elephant, she wanted to eat more. I suggested she ask him to have a call with me, to tell her husband that it would really help her in the programme if I was able to speak to him. So thankfully he agreed. And when I spoke to him, I said to him, your weight and your body is your business, and her weight is her business. And the most important thing is supporting each other in the goals. And that actually self-criticism is destructive and criticism is destructive. And often it has the opposite effect. And if you could be more supportive and more positive in suggesting activities out of the home, in appreciating and complimenting her efforts, in helping to boost her self-esteem, then it's going to stand a far better chance of both of them being happier. And a few weeks later, he called me and he said, Nicola, I'm so grateful. We're really getting on so much better now, and they really closed the distance between them, and he could really see a huge difference in her, and they're both really, really happy. It's lovely to hear stories like that. Just remember that you don't have to tell anyone about your weight if you don't want to. And you don't need to listen to anybody else if you don't want to. This is about how you feel. And when people join the programme for someone else, they don't enjoy it as much. When they join for themselves, when they decide, okay, I want peace in my life, I want happiness in my life, I want joy in my life, they transform their relationships with food, with their body, and really are able to maintain a healthy weight for a long time. The fourth thing is to right-size their comments. Ask yourself, will this even matter a month from now or 6 months from now? The chances are, even a week later, you'll be over it. This really works for me, and I hope in sharing it that it may work for you. So when I think back now to what that lady said about that ride, she was just doing her job. And I don't think about it at all. In fact, obviously I think it's quite funny. But at the time, obviously I didn't. But a week later, or a few weeks later, it's like, okay. So just ask yourself, does it really matter in the scheme of things? Is it really that important? 6 months down the line, will I even care about this? And I'm not saying that hurtful comments don't wound in the moment, of course they do. But in the bigger picture, are they worth sweating about? And if yes, then that's okay, because if they do matter to you that much, then you have the power to change things anyway. You have the power to step into action to change the way you relate to your body, the way you see yourself, the way your body is, your eating habits. You can control that, and no one else. And if that's the case, then why not take a step for yourself today? Why not join me in my peaceful eating strategy session that I give away to people who are really serious about making a change, who are really ready to step up and face whatever is beneath their emotional eating. And I don't mean that it's going to be difficult or painful, but it does take commitment, and it does take motivation. And that's why the group programs are so powerful, because we all motivate each other. We all make sure that if someone is having a bad day, they can reach out to someone in the group, or they can share in the group and say, I'm having a bad day. And then they get love and support. It definitely is much nicer than doing it on your own, and much easier than doing it on your own. So I want you to know that the road does not have to be long and tough. And I want you to know that you can beat this. And more importantly, I want you to know that you can live a life that is not governed by what you are eating or not eating. It's all possible. So if you do feel like the time is right for you to reach out and have a peaceful eating